Roll call, please.
On time.
Alderman Catalano.
Here.
Alderman Jacob, not here. Alderman Messina, not here.
Here. I'm here.
Holy. This one starts at 7:30.
What happened to Art?
Come on. Let's go.
All right, here we go. Hey. Alderman Catalano.
Here.
Alderman Jacob.
Here.
Alderman Messina.
Here.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Here.
Alderman Szymanski.
Here.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Here.
Alderman R. Wesley.
Here.
Alderman Woods.
Here.
Mayor Police.
Here. Declare quorum present. Please stand. Join Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, I need a motion to approve the city council minutes of December 7th.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any questions, corrections? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Do any citizens wish to be heard on matters not listed on the agenda? No citizens here tonight. Everybody's already celebrating.
Well, they heard we were wearing these.
Written communiques. I do have one. This is from the Bensenville Wooddale Football and Cheer Youth Sports Program. I hope all is well. Seems not that long ago, I was writing to the Village of Wooddale on behalf of the BWFCA. I'm reaching out in hopes we get supported once again from the Village of Wooddale, City of Wooddale. As you may know, I continue to support and volunteer as cheerleading coordinator for our nonprofit organization, both the community of Bensenville and Wooddale. We are a group of parents, volunteers who strive to make these programs successful for our children of our community and help promote the ideals of good citizenship and sportsmanship for youth athletes. Recently, we have grown in numbers of our participants, which I like to think is a wonderful opportunity for every child to have the experience as a team player. With that said, and the program continues to growing, this year our JV cheerleading team qualified on November 5th for a chance to go to Disney Orlando, Florida once again and compete at the national level. Unfortunately, travel expenses are high. Basically, they attached the letter here. It's not on the agenda, this just came yesterday afternoon. If you guys are in agreement, we can put this on the next agenda, which won't be till after New Year's, correct? Next council meeting.
It's awful bright down here.
Not the 5th.
A lot of different colors to it.
Oh, we're on
Except for ours.
Keep people awake.
Okay, so we're going to the next council meeting. Right now, we can't take action. If there's, do we have any consensus? Otherwise, we'll bring it. I won't bring it. Okay.
When are they going?
All right. Doesn't say when they're going. They qualified in November. They usually go around Thanksgiving, so I don't know why they're sending us a letter after.
So do they go already?
I'm not sure. I can call and reach out. I can call her and find out what's the deal.
Tell her that we would have given her money, but she called us and
All right. I have no other written communiques. I do on the mayor's report, I want to congratulate Chief Vesta and his police department for the capture of carjacking suspects. Thank you, Chief, and your department. And on behalf of the entire city council, city staff, we want to wish all the residents Merry Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year to everyone. Stay safe and enjoy. Mr. Murmas.
Just one quick partial item, Mr. Mayor. I had sent an email to the council earlier today. It appears that the city of Wooddale did win a prestigious award for through APWA, American Public Works Association, for our Wooddale and Irving intersection project. I'll have some more details further down the line. I expect to get the award, and then we'll have a little bit of more of a presentation at the council meeting in February. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Next, consent agenda. If no objections, I have 8 items on the consent agenda.
Make the motion to approve. Remove number 6.
Remove number 6. Any other objections? All right, so with the removal of number 6, I have 7 items still on the agenda. I need a motion to approve. Okay, Gina and Sunny. Roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes. Now, I will entertain a motion to approve the items on the agenda. Item number 1, resolution authorizing the City of Wooddale to enter into an insurance agreement with Brit Specialty Insurance for city general liability, employee benefit liability, and auto insurance. Item number 2, resolution authorizing the City of Wooddale to enter into an insurance agreement with the Hanover Insurance Group Incorporated for the city property and crime insurance. Item number 3, a resolution authorizing the City of Wooddale to enter into an insurance agreement with Illinois Public Risk Fund for workers' compensation insurance. Item number 4, approval of it IT infrastructure updates pre-ERP in the amount of not to exceed $127,657. Item number 5, approval of rear yard drainage program standards. Item number 7, a resolution seeking to approve a contract between the City of Wooddale and Lakeshore Clean Sweep for street sweeping contract in the not to exceed amount of $180,000. Item number 8, an ordinance amending Chapter 5, Section 5.304.A.2, Section 5.305, and Section 5.306 of Municipal Code of the City of Wooddale of the 1993 to provide for the creation of RVG Class liquor license and reduce the number of Class R licenses. Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Second.
Well,
Wait, hold on.
you read number,
Who made,
Oh, you would?
you included 6, Mayor.
no, I did not.
You read 6, did you?
No.
No,
No.
he didn't.
And I'm hearing ghosts then, sorry.
Who made that motion? I'm sorry.
It's too loud in here. It's too loud in here, that's why.
Who made the second?
Aye.
Your shoes.
Mike, okay.
And that's for what?
That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, and 8. All right, roll call, please.
Sorry.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes. Next, committee chairman reports, planning and zoning, Alderman Woods.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public health and safety, Alderman Sorrentino.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. Public works, Alderman Sismarski.
3, have an ordinance declaring property owned by the city of Wooddale surplus for the purpose of selling. That's my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions? Roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes.
Second, I have a approval of partial payment request number 2 to Misfits Construction for the signpost installation project in the not to exceed amount $40,000. That's my motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Who's the second?
Tony.
Before I go to.
Hold on. Question? Alderman Sismarski?
Before I go to any question, I'd like to know, are the, I guess, how do I put this? Are all the street signs up? Because I noticed some in Ward 1, and are we doing the, what do you call it, the unincorporated district with our signs?
Mr. York?
Yes, all the street signs that were planned on going up are up, with the exception of the one at Division in Wooddale Road. That's up on top of the hill. It's a little bit of a different location, so we're gonna use a different pole for that. The ones in the unincorporated areas we are not doing, and the ones in the industrial park we are not doing at this time.
Do you have a follow-up, Alderman Sismarski?
Yeah, I
Go ahead.
did see one the other night over on Potter. I think it's a cul-de-sac back in Ward 1. Like, off of Potter, I guess, by Windsor. Yeah, it goes into is that an association? Are associations included in all of our, I don't know if that's an association. I just saw there's a green one tucked back there.
If,
Go ahead, Mr. York.
if it's the one on Kara Lane, not Kara,
Backs up to the tracks.
yes.
Okay.
That one is being replaced with a different type of pole. That's the one at Thomas and Tosca. That pole was on order.
Okay.
I'm currently waiting for that to come in, and also waiting for the ground to unthaw to install that one.
You have a follow-up?
So associations that wanted them can pay for them, or they have paid for them, and we order them?
Mr. York?
We have put them on all roads that we maintain.
Okay. Thank you.
Alderman Wesley, you have your hand up?
Yeah,
Okay, go
I have
ahead.
one question. Payment two, how many more payments we have on this?
Mr. York?
There's one more payment that'll be coming down, a final payment, which will be on the 11th and the 18th of January, for about, I think it's $21,000-ish dollars. 21,000
So
something.
there's still one more payment,
One more final payment. yes.
approximately 20,000.
Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Any other questions? Let's do a roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes.
I have the last one, Mayor, of approval of purchase of a 2018 Ford F-50 utility truck in the amount not to exceed $51,824. That is my motion.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Who's the second?
Alderman Catalano. Questions? Alderman Sismarski, go ahead.
Matt, this is well within your budget, and we are also replacing a vehicle, or retiring a vehicle, correct?
Mr. York?
Yes, both of those statements are true.
Okay, thank you.
Follow, any other questions? Okay, roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
No,
No?
no.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Like the truck?
Okay, that
That
passes.
concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Finance and Administration, Alderman Messina.
I have 3 reports, Mayor.
Go ahead.
First report is a resolution seeking to approve an agreement between the City of Wooddale and Flashing Thunder Fireworks for the 2018 Prairie Fest fireworks display in the not-to-exceed amount of $12,500. That is my motion.
Second. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second.
Who is the second?
Art, Alderman Woods. Questions, Alderman Sismarski, you had a question, go ahead.
Yeah, what was the final result of this? We tabled this for a reason of interest as far as background
Mr.
checks?
Murmas.
Yeah, there was a question if Flashing Thunder had their state fireworks license. Deputy Clerk Amanda Malone called the fire marshal, and they said that they did.
Nothing
And I
that
put
I
it
found
back on
that I
the
knew.
agenda.
You have a follow-up, Alderman
No,
Sismarski?
sir. Thank you.
Okay, we have a motion. Any other questions? I'm sorry. Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes.
Second report, an ordinance authorizing the borrowing of funds for the general municipal corporate purposes of the City of Wooddale, County of DuPage, State of Illinois. That is my motion.
Second.
Okay, Alderman Jacob, second. Questions on this? Roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
It's my
Alderman
fault.
Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley? Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
And that passes.
Third report, a resolution affirming and amending the City of Wooddale's sexual harassment policy as set forth in the city's personnel manual. That is my motion.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Alderman Jacob. Mr. Bond has a little statement. Go ahead, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, this is the Attorney General, General Assembly actually had approved Public Act 100-0554. We have, so that there's no confusion, we have and have for a long time had a harassment policy, workplace harassment, sexual harassment in the city code. What the legislation requires is for there's a lot of places that don't, municipal entities and other local governments. So it mandates that each of those has such a policy, and it also provides for whistleblower protection. Our policy also provides for that. It also provides for confidentiality in the event of it. What it's doing is the revision to the policy would simply be reaffirming the existing policy and making sure that everything is the language is similar to the model ordinance that has been circulated by the Illinois Municipal League. So this is not something new. This is simply a reaffirmation of what you as a city have been doing now for many, many, many years, for as long as I've been here. It's improved over the years, but you've always had that policy, and each time there's legislative change, you update your policy to conform with that.
Alderman Sorrentino, you had your hand up.
Yes, thank you. This is for the attorney. You know, with all that's going on in the media lately with these charges that are 10, 15, 20, 40 years old, in our handbook, is there any statute of limitations that would withhold somebody from coming forward and bringing charges of harassment, assault, whatever the case may be?
Mr. Bond.
Yeah, there is a time frame. You're supposed to report it as soon as practicable. There is a state statute that imposes a statute of limitations on those types of claim, and that's a 2-year statute of limitations. We don't have the authority to extend that, expand that, or shorten it. We do have a much shorter provision for our reporting of that in order to do a timely investigation in the event of any such allegations.
Any other questions? Roll call, please.
Alderman Catalano.
Yes.
Alderman Jacob.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino.
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky.
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley.
Yes.
Alderman Woods.
Yes.
And that passes.
That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. Under other business, airport noise, Alderman Jacob.
Just one report. Just wanted to thank the residents for calling in the complaints and ask that everybody continue to do so. Thank you.
Thank you. Under stormwater, Alderman Eugene Wesley.
No report, Mayor.
Thank you. And we will go back to item number 6. Need a motion of resolution seeking to approve a contract between the City of Wooddale and MDL Tree Service or Brush Collections Program and not to exceed amount of $144,000.
Second.
Second.
Okay, we have Eugene was, and Randy second.
Right.
Questions? Alderman Woods.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring it back up. Oh, I'm sorry. I just wanted to bring this back up to address some of the questions that we had last week that there didn't seem to be an answer to, and that may have altered the way people voted or thought about this, so I just wanted to bring those up.
Could I call the question? I think we talked
No.
through this last week.
No, that's not proper.
One is, I did check on the business, and they are a reliable business in town, but, so that was a question. Number two, and one of my biggest things, and a couple people brought this up to me, of why we went for the second highest bidder, even though it wasn't a lot of money. And so when I tried to justify what we did, I looked at it.
Second lowest bidder.
Second lowest bidder. Depending on how you look at it, I guess, second lowest bidder. But we sent this out to 13 people, another 13 people, only 3 people sent a bid. So part of me thinks that it's a bad message to send if we're trying to get people to bid, and it's been an issue for us before where we send out 5, 7, 10, and we only get 3 or 4 back. If now we don't give award the contract to the lowest responsible bidder. So those are the things that I just wanted to address and bring that up and see if that makes a difference to anybody.
All right, no. Good, Alderman Messina.
Yeah, no, I just want to address and remind everybody as well that I know we have looked at that and we can send the wrong message to our existing businesses that we do work with, that if they do put in the effort and they do deliver on their contract, that we will recognize that. Of course, I think we're going to be mindful of this when it comes up for bid. So I give kudos to MDL, but I'm sure they're on notice that if that's the case and they don't deliver the quality of service that this council is willing to, is used to, that we'll make a change next contract time. That's it.
Okay, thank you. Alderman Sorrentino, you had a comment?
Yes. Kind of following in line with what Alderman Wood brought up, I noticed in this packet when it came to the brush contract that there was some obligation on our part as far as accepting the lowest bid. And how we got off of that, and it being a sealed bid program, that's got me a little confused. And I would also like to bring up the idea that if anybody's doing business with these people, for any reason, either party that's up for this negotiation, it would be highly recommended that they abstain from voting. If anybody would benefit in any way, shape, or form from either one of these brush collection companies, that they should abstain, because you're at an ethical boundary that could be a snake that could bite you in the butt later. That's all I have to say.
Any other comments, questions? Alderman Jacob, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, part of the reason we did that, and again, number one, the references the people had, they've never done a city before. Number two, this company has been serving the residents, and all the residents are thrilled to death with the company. And all of a sudden, we're gonna change for, what was it, $1,500 or bare minimal difference. And also, they had 3 names, the secretary, I don't know if Pat Bod looked into that, but we had talked about the way it was set up, the corporation. Pat, did you look into that?
Mr. Bond.
Yeah, they are a corporation in good standing within the state of Illinois. They just didn't have all the officers sign the bid documents, and we don't require that as our bid, part of our bid specs.
Hold on. One at a time. Mr. Jacob, go ahead.
And, basically their references were condos. I'm the president of my condo association, and I will tell you right now, our landscaper could not do all the tree work in the city of Wooddale. So, again, we're punishing somebody for $1,500, and the other company doesn't really even have the best of references.
Alderman Wesley, go ahead.
Mr. Pittman, you raised the question about that. Why can't we not put that in our bid spec?
Mr. Bond.
Well, if it's corporation, they're required to be a corporation in good standing. If we put that, we would have to put every single corporate requirement. And if they satisfy the corporate requirements under the state of Illinois, the Secretary of State would find that they're in good standing. If they don't, the Secretary of State would rescind that good standing. So we rely on the Secretary of State's office to have done their due diligence in determining that they have complied with state statute in that regard. So it's not a necessary requirement in our bid specifications, and in my experience, that's not been a necessary part in other communities either.
Okay.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Not in this one, but I believe at one time when we did the clock tower, the bids came in, there was a company that was at a lower bid, and we disqualify them because they call the company that our city council requires, not our city council, but the people, the lights that they wanted to put in there, they reached out to the contractor because that's the only company that makes these lights, and they would not even give them the price over the phone what it would cost. So they couldn't even put in a legit bid. So we ended up throwing it all out, those bids. So I'm just saying, if we as a council sits here and require that they have to put specialize in the lights of everything, okay, then it's the same way all the time. We cannot throw out a bid just because the company did not cooperate with giving this company that bid for the clock tower the information that they needed. So it's almost the same way here. I mean,
Go ahead, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, just to reiterate what the law requires, the purpose of the public bid is to, obviously, to have competitive bids to try and make sure that the taxpayers are receiving the best benefit for their dollars. But the Section 8-9-1 does not mandate the selection of the lowest bidder. It mandates the selection of the lowest responsible bidder. And we've had situations before, and what's responsible does not suggest that the other bidders are irresponsible. It just suggests that there may be some considerations and factors that you as a city and any governmental entity can put forward, including the bidder's credentials, financial stability, their bonding capacity, insurance protection, qualifications, past experience to complete the type of project, and if there's any outstanding liabilities or judgments, lawsuits, and liens. So all of those factors can be taken into consideration. And one of the things that was discussed, and I had the benefit of being at the committee, was the fact that they did not have any municipal experience. That doesn't disqualify them, but it certainly is a factor that you can determine whether or not, in your experience, that in your opinion, they have the qualifications to do the municipal type of brush removal that's contemplated by the contract. So you have, generally, you would take the lowest bidder, because the lowest bidder would also be the lowest responsible bidder, but the law gives you that flexibility to make sure that you're getting the best quality contractor for the price.
Alderman Woods.
Yeah, just to address the officers of the corporation. By Illinois statute, you don't have to have 3 officers for a corporation. It can be 1. There is, according to state statutes, as provided by the bylaws of the corporation. So the argument of the contract not being signed legally, it was signed legally.
All right, Alderman Messina, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to reiterate what the city attorney said about responsible bidder. And I'm not going to reiterate the points again that Alderman Jacob made, I think a couple other myself made. I mean, it comes down to each one you make a vote. If it's less than 1% difference, if you do the math, if you feel like you want to roll the dice, they have no municipal experience, then roll the dice. If you don't, you don't. That's all I have to say. But just keep in mind, if this person's been here for a while, and he just built a house in Wooddale as well, he's invested in the community, and everybody knows what to expect.
I understand. So you've got a business, he's doing a good job, no doubt about it. Somebody else outbids him to say he's not qualified. You know, as a former small business owner, that I just don't like to hear that kind of stuff. But
I don't think.
Alderman Sismarski, you were next.
I don't know if the city manager can ask this. Alderman Eugene Wesley's thing about the bidding part, didn't the state kick them out for a reason? They didn't disclose something,
Mr.
if I'm
Murphy.
not mistaken?
I believe we wanted to accept the bid, but we weren't allowed to because the state
By
is in
state.
control of those bids. And
Right.
there was some paperwork that wasn't filled out correctly or something like that, so.
Alderman Roy Wesley, you haven't spoken yet. Go ahead.
Matt, in the contract, what's the biggest part of the contract? On the contract, it says how big of a chunk that they could take. Is it 6 inch for picking it up in diameter, 5 inch, 4 inch?
Mr. York.
I believe it's 8 inch. I'd have to go back and look at the bid specs again, but I believe it's 8 inch. If you give me the opportunity to, I could take a look at that while we're continuing to converse here.
Do you have a follow-up, Alderman Wesley? Go ahead.
Well, I know that we've had stuff out in the street bigger than 8 inches, and MDL has been picking that up. So if it's over 8 inches, the company may just say, pass it up and say, forget it. They have that right to do that. I would think.
Okay. All right, well, Mr. York's going to look at that. Go ahead, Alderman Jacob, and then,
That's a question to the attorney.
go ahead.
I mean, there's a lot of times that we have not chose not to go out to bid. For instance, with the garbage contract, we had those. I believe didn't we renew their contract one time over the years? Without
Mr.
going to
Brown.
bid?
Yeah, I believe we did.
Okay, I mean, so technically, we didn't even have to go out to bid on this, is that correct?
Hold on. That garbage contract was the worst contract the city ever signed. And I believe Alderman Wesley, myself, and one other alderman voted against it. That was the worst contract. These two are, I mean, they're not even close. MDL is close. That garbage contract was terrible. Let's not mix those up. Go ahead.
Well, I'm just bringing up in general, we technically did not have to go out to bid, is that correct, Mr. Bond?
Go ahead, Mr. Bond.
Yeah, the law, it's a law 101 question, because the law does require you to go out on public works and public improvements. And the public work and a public improvement is not defined in statute. The brush removal would be a maintenance item, much like street sweeping and so forth. And the city still goes out to bid on those items. But legally, under the Illinois Municipal Code, you are not required to bid on those type of maintenance items.
You have a follow, Alderman Wesley? Jacob?
No, I'm fine.
Alderman Wesley, you were next.
Who, me?
Yes.
Oh, I cancel. I
Mr. York, did you find that answer for Alderman Wesley?
Yeah, I cannot find anywhere in here where it makes a distinction of what can or cannot be. I know, basically, the only thing that we tell people is root balls, that they can't put their root balls out. And they have to be in manageable sections, I mean, they gotta carry them out to their street, so, and they've gotta be able to fit in their parkway too. So, because they can't obstruct the sidewalks or, it's a code violation.
So,
Good, Alderman Roy Wesley, go ahead. Go ahead.
so if it's not listed in the contract, if the thing is 10 or 12 inches in diameter and they get it out to the street, they have to pick it up in their contract? I don't know. There has to be something in there.
Mr.
And
Bond, I know
my
Mr. Bond,
argument- my whole
Mr. Bond is looking, and I know Matt's still looking.
My whole
Go ahead.
argument on this is MDL hasn't had any problems of picking up anything on the street.
Their
And
reputation is fine, definitely in good standing with the city, no doubt about it.
right. So I think
And
that's-
any other questions? Well, Mr. Bond and Mr. York.
It doesn't have anything in here about sizes.
It was timed perfectly. Hey, Jeff. Big size?
It doesn't,
Of the lowest bidder.
Mayor,
So-
Mr. Mayor, it does not,
Mr. York.
it does not make any statements of sizes here.
So,
We created the specs, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead, Alderman Wesley, go ahead.
so I guess my question is, if there's 10 inch or whatever, could he come back and say that's too big for us?
I don't know, those are legal questions.
Well, the attorney's here.
He's also going through the thing here, so that's, I mean, we can,
No, I think this, under the scope of work provided for, includes removing branches, logs from city parkways, road right of way, ensuring debris. So I think under that, without defining the diameter, that the city could compel the removal of those items.
And that
all
doesn't.
right, go ahead, Mr. York.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean that they have to remove them as they are. If they have to cut them up smaller in order to remove them, then they have to do that. And they have to clean, just as stated in here, there's a cleaning requirement too.
Okay.
All right. We have something new on this because most of you have spoken twice already. A couple haven't spoken at all.
Call the question.
I have something new. It's based on.
Go ahead, Alderman Messina, something new.
So you're saying, so in the bid specs, we're not specific on the bundles, right? On the size. That's our fault. So, in my opinion, I don't know how we could, we know what to expect with one vendor. In this case, we screwed up, sorry, the city, we were not specific. Now we have to allow the discretion of somebody that has never done municipal work, we've never worked with to decide on whether that bundle's too big or not. I'm not gonna put my residents through that, and then I'm not gonna bother Matt every day or every pickup with people calling. That's-
Mr. Bond?
Yeah,
Go ahead.
just to the comment, actually, the way that the specs are provided for in our bid, they have to remove the debris. It wasn't a screw up, it wasn't an omission. They're required to remove it, and if they can't remove it because it's too big, they have to figure out a way to cut it up or make it so that it's manageable for their equipment. So they have to remove it no matter how big it is.
Is that a revision to this one? 'Cause it's.
No, it's no, well, they have to remove it.
He's
That's what
looking
the
right
the scope of the work is, they are, the branches, logs, so forth from the city. So it may be that they have to, they don't have the trucking capacity to be able to get rid of some of the larger logs, but there is no restriction on the size of the removal of those logs. Any logs or branches on the, they have to remove them.
Okay.
Mike, can you clarify? Just-
Go ahead, Alderman Messina.
Just so you're saying, so the old contract, that wasn't the case, because we brought this up multiple times, and they would not take logs, and you're saying in this contract, though, they would have to physically, whoever we pick, I could care less at this point, but they're gonna remove it off the property, it doesn't matter how big, I don't have to cut them down to size. That's what I'm being told, and that's what we're telling the residents, because I have multiple times where I've brought this to you guys with different residents, and they've said it's too big, you need to cut them in half. So, am I hearing you right, Attorney Bond?
They have.
Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Bond.
the scope of it, now they're not, it doesn't provide for stumps, they're not gonna remove stumps from the property, but they are required, and this is the bid specs that were sent for every potential bidder, and those who in fact bidded were bidding on within the scope of that project. So those would have to, now it doesn't say that they have to be removed, within 24 hours of that, they're gonna have to make a determination as to how to get it out of there, but it's to be removed under the scope of the work of this particular proposal.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead, Matt, you might answer my question.
Well,
Go ahead.
there is a different requirement for the brush that is collected by the garbage companies. They have a different set of criteria, and there is a length and a bundle width requirement there. So there is a requirement for the garbage company to take a bundle of sticks or of brush, but there isn't a requirement within this contract.
I got a quick question on, so if somebody cuts a 20-inch tree, big one, right? And they cut it down to the stump, and the thing's 20 feet long, well, that's not gonna be put at the curb, right? That's not something, the brush collection we're talking about, correct? Just so we're clear, I wanna make sure we're clear, because I'm starting to hear stuff that, is that correct? We're not
The
picking
letter,
up,
from the letter of the contract, they could do that as long as it doesn't violate any other code requirements. If they wanted to put it perpendicular to the roadway, which is normally what we ask them to do, because it's easier to pick them up perpendicular and put them in the chipper or whatever. Then if it's a 20-foot tall tree, then it's going to impede the sidewalk, which is going to be a code violation, so.
and one other thing, so, and landscapers can't be cutting trees and dropping the stuff on the curb. They have to, if somebody has a professional landscaper, somebody cut their tree, they have to haul it away themselves, correct? That's a known rule
typically
in our
what we-
community, right? Okay. All right,
Sorry, Russ.
let's call the question.
Not me. We have landscapers that put it out there.
All right, something different?
Call the
Yeah,
question.
something different.
Call the
Go ahead,
question.
Alderman Woods.
Referencing the side and blocking the sidewalk, and those parts in the community where the distance between the curb and the sidewalk's like a foot or 2 feet. Those people are kind of like handicapped, aren't they? Being able to put a branch out there.
If they have a sidewalk cut.
Yeah.
All right,
Food for thought.
all right, we got a motion, we have a second, roll call, please.
Alderman
Motion-
Catalano?
Motion is what?
Wyatt?
To approve MDL.
Okay.
Okay.
Alderman Catalano?
No.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
No.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
No.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
No.
What do you got?
That fails, 4-4.
That's what I thought.
Did the mayor vote?
Contract. So the result is savings.
Oh, I didn't vote.
You didn't vote. It's tied, right?
Right, okay. Go ahead, Shirley, call me.
Call the mayor.
I'm calling the mayor, be quiet. Mayor, please.
I'm gonna go no. I said it last week. We go with the lowest bidder. The only reason we're getting these low bids is because 6 years ago, we went out to bid, we used to pay $9,800, now we pay $6,500. I feel if we don't take the low bidder, and I agree, MDL has been reputable, but unfortunately, we gotta go with the low bidder if we're gonna do things the right way.
That's it. So, can I ask a question?
Alderman Eugene West.
So my question is, now that we set this precedence for the lowest bidder, does that mean everything that comes forward now is going to be the lowest bidder on everything for the city?
It's temporary.
Is that what we're setting example here now? That we are not, we always going to take the lowest bidder for everything, even though we don't think that company is qualified? I'm just, well, ask that question.
No, we've taken some second bids at times, yes. Okay,
So,
before we get out of control. Alderman Jacob, go ahead.
I guess I have a question. We have a committee when we get bids in from, I think it's architects or whatever, that it's a couple aldermen, and
Go ahead, Alderman Jacob.
so I'm trying to understand, I mean, what do we have that, what does that
Mr.
committee
Murmas.
exist for?
Those are professional services like engineering design services, not like a work thing. And then those recommendations come to the actual committee of the whole for you guys to consider.
Mr. Bond.
Yeah. Under the municipal code, the professional services are not publicly bid. You know, you don't want to get the cheapest engineer. You want to get an engineer that's that's qualified to do it. So they look at, in the law, state statute treats professional services different. So you've got a committee where you get a group of qualified professionals within engineering and architects and so forth, and then you select from that list when projects come in to determine which projects are appropriate to their background, experience, and so forth.
Okay. Do we have another comment, question? Mr. Murmas.
Just a procedural question. If we did not approve the MDL contract, do we not then have to approve a contract or vote on another contract?
Mr. Bond.
Yeah, you've got to, so it would be appropriate at this time, and I don't know what the termination of the current MDL contract, if it's timely, can either be addressed because there is an item on the agenda for purposes of selecting a vendor in connection with this brush pickup. So you can either do it on this agenda, or if it's not, the contract's not expiring, you have time, you can place it on your agenda. But you do have to have a motion and approval of if it's the lowest bidder or one of them on the list. But you will have to contract with a brush removal organization.
I'll make a motion then for the lowest bidder.
Hold on. Did not. Alderman Messina, go ahead.
Is there a way to just table this? I mean, obviously Alderman Woods has brought up some good questions. Everyone has. I mean, I feel like that it's very vague. I don't mind, don't get me wrong, Mayor, I agree, at this point. But I do agree that there's it's very vague, and I'm very nervous that, especially somebody, if we go with it, and I'll agree with the rest of you guys, it's fine. But to go with somebody that's never done municipal, that scares me, and then to be so vague in what they're gonna pick up or not. And then Alderman Woods talking about, hey, if you got a sidewalk, you're handicapped right there. I mean, as far as the size of what you can put up, I would ask that we just rebid it. I don't care who wins, just rebid it and be more specific, because I don't want to put my residents out at risk. That seems to me like a big risk.
Hold on a second. Okay, we had a motion, we had a second, and it's gonna go the same way, so I know it's gonna, Matt, basically these specs are the same as we've had for the last 8 years. But I know we've done this is like the third or fourth time we've gone out to bid, because we used to have a contractor, right? Have we changed something, just out of curiosity?
This is the same bid spec that went out 3 years ago that
Okay.
MDL won the contract for. I guess the sidewalk issue isn't going to be solved with this contract.
No, and it's the same as always.
Yeah, and if it states that they have to pick up everything, then they have to pick up everything. If they don't pick up everything, then they're in breach of their contract.
And it's one of the questions I had last week. We definitely have an out. If they're no good, we can get rid of them. Correct, Mr. Bond?
That's correct.
Okay, note the time, so when I call, we'll be ready to pick it up.
Mayor.
All right,
That's all I just.
all right, we have a motion and a second to table. Since we have a motion and a second, the table, we need to take a roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
No.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
No,
Alderman Sizmarsky?
No.
Alderman E. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman R. Wesley?
Yes.
Alderman Woods?
No.
4-4.
Go ahead, Shirley.
Do I have to call?
Yes, you have to call me.
Mayor of Police?
No, let's get this over with.
You got a question? Over here.
Oh, Eugene Wesley?
My concern was, that I raised last time too, is MDL picked up the whole city almost in one day. My question here, I know we give them, the contract states, how many days, Matt?
Mr. York, you want to respond to that?
Sure.
No.
The contract states they have 5 calendar days. The dates are in the contract.
Guys,
The dates are in the contract. The starting dates of the contract, or the starting date of each pickup is in the bid specs. They have 5 calendar days to do so. And that's the same language that was in contract before.
Okay, Mayor, I got a couple other questions, if you don't mind.
go ahead, follow.
My other question is, so if they don't make it in the 4th day, we notice that half the city ain't being picked up and all that, or way behind, or they don't pick up in 5 days, how are we going to react to this?
I would imagine we're going to react like we always do. We get calls, believe me, I get calls on brush all the time.
Nope.
I would imagine we have the same response. We call
No.
the staff. Mr. York, go ahead.
Yes, under general specifications, Article 3, liquidated damages, monthly pickups taking longer than 5 days unless a prior authorization is given by the Director of Public Works will be subject to liquidated damages in the amount of $500 a day for every day exceeding 5 days.
So
Go ahead.
my question on that, so on the 4th day, if you notice the city ain't being picked up, you're going to call this contractor and say, hey, you're running behind, pick it up? Because
Mr.
that's
York.
not our
Go
responsibility.
ahead, Mr. York.
I stated that at the last meeting that I would do that, and you said that I should not do that, so I probably will not.
He's
do that.
saying he probably won't per direction.
That you
Okay.
directed me last time that I should not call them.
I'm not one vote.
Okay. All right. Do we have another motion?
yes. I'd like to make a motion to, oh, sorry.
Go ahead, Alderman Sorrentino. You have,
Make a motion
We
to
can-
accept the lowest sealed bid for our brush collection.
what was,
contract.
I need not to exceed, I need a name. Do we have that? Anybody?
Wood?
Mr.
Yes,
York,
it's,
you have that name?
Superior,
Hold on, please, one at a time.
let me find the document.
Superior Ground
Superior
Services,
Ground Services,
Inc.
Inc.
Inc., in the amount of $142,500.
Okay,
Second.
that's your, no, you can't.
I'd like to make a motion.
All right. Sonny made the motion. Do I have a second? Do I have a second?
Second.
Time.
Oh. Tony.
So-
Alderman Roy Wesley, go ahead, you had a question.
Matt, you said 5 calendar days, not on weekends, Monday through Friday, right?
Mr. York.
The liquidated damages section says that they have 5 calendar days to pick up. It says every day exceeding 5 days is $500. It does not denote weekends.
Mr. Bond is actually looking at this. You got a response, Mr. Bond, please?
Yeah, this is exactly like any other liquidated damage clause. If they don't do it within that time frame, then we withhold the liquidated damages from our pay.
Go ahead, Alderman Roy Wesley.
My point is Saturday and Sunday is a calendar day, right? So,
Yes.
are we gonna have is it possible we're gonna have these guys going up and down these streets on Saturdays and Sundays, picking up brush pickup? That's a good possibility here.
Mr. York, you want to take it? Go ahead.
Public Works projects can take place on Saturdays between the hours of 8 AM and 4 PM with the authorization of myself. No work can be conducted on Sunday, so I would not allow any work to happen on a Sunday.
Does
Go ahead, Alderman Wesley.
it state in that contract that you have the authority to not, that they cannot do work on Sundays?
Mr. Bond, go ahead, you can answer that.
Yeah, we have a code that dictates when hours of work and so forth, and that is within the code and within the Public Works Director's authorization.
So I
Go ahead.
won't-
Go ahead,
So my
follow.
point is, I will not see this company doing work on Sunday.
According to Mr. York, that's not going to happen. Correct,
So
Mr.
does
York?
that-
Yes, I mean, or they would be in violation of our code.
So
Go ahead, Alderman
in
Wesley.
that case, if the fifth day happens to be on a Sunday, and they come out on Monday, they're in 1 day of violation of their contract, correct?
Mr. Bond?
That's correct.
Okay. That's good. Any other questions? Roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
No.
No.
Got it. Alderman Messina?
No.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
No.
Alderman R. Wesley?
No.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
Mayor Police?
Yes,
Passes.
that passes. Next, approval list of bills.
Yes.
Alderman Messina.
I'd like to approve the list of bills in the amount of, I'd like to make a motion to approve the list of bills in the amount of $1,489,057.65.
Second.
Whoops.
Jesus, what is that?
We have a motion, and Alderman Sorrentino, quick on the draw for a second.
My goodness.
Any questions? Questions? Alderman Jacob.
I had one question, and Mr. Wilson, I had asked you on the DuPage Optical for $747, you had said it was for a police officer for an eye exam, but then you emailed me and said it's for 3. Did we get 3 new police officers?
Who wants to take that, Chief or Brad?
Yeah, we did.
Chief, go ahead.
Actually, the board's been in the process of interviewing a number of candidates. We, Tuesday at noon, will be swearing in 2 new officers. So we do have a spot in the academy. They will start the academy on January 8th. We also have 1 officer graduating tomorrow from the police academy.
Go ahead, follow up. Go
So
ahead.
those are the people that got the eye test, right? It was, because he said it was 3 people, it wasn't 1 person for
Chief
700.
Vesta.
That's correct. 1 person is not continuing with the job.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Alderman Catalano?
Yes.
Alderman Jacob?
Yes.
Alderman Messina?
Yes.
Alderman Sorrentino?
Yes.
Alderman Sizmarsky?
Yes.
Alderman E. Wesley?
No.
Alderman R. Wesley?
No.
Alderman Woods?
Yes.
No, it's 62.
That concludes my, that pass?
Yes, 62.
All right, that concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you. No executive session, no items to be referred. Need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.
Who's the second?